Hey everyone, so picture this. You're scrolling through flight prices online, looking for a quick trip to Barcelona, Prague, or maybe the Greek islands. You see a price that makes you do a double take. $9.99. Welcome to the world of Ryanair. Now, if you've ever flown in Europe, you've probably heard the stories, the complaints, the viral TikToks of people wearing 7 layers of clothing to avoid baggage fees. But here's the thing. Ryanair is also the largest airline in Europe, carrying over 180 million passengers a year. So today, we're diving deep into the Ryanair phenomenon. How do they offer tickets cheaper than a pizza? And hey, if you're into travel tips, aviation secrets, before we talk about $10 flights and 7 kilos baggage wars, let's rewind. The airline was founded in 1984 by the Ryan family in Ireland. Back then, it was a small regional carrier flying a single route between Waterford and London with a 15-seater plane. Nothing revolutionary. In 1991, a guy named Michael O'Leary took over as CEO, and Michael had a vision. He'd studied Southwest Airlines in the US, the pioneer of the low-cost carrier model, and he thought, why can't we do this in Europe? So O'Leary stripped everything down to the absolute basics. Free snacks? Gone. Assigned seating? Gone. Flying to major airports? Too expensive. Instead, Ryanair started using secondary airports. Places like Beauvais instead of Paris or Bergamo instead of Milan. Cheaper fees, faster turnarounds. And it worked. By the late 90s and early 2000s, Ryanair was growing like crazy, opening routes across Europe and undercutting traditional airlines by massive margins. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the cabin. The answer is actually genius, in a slightly diabolical way. It's a loss leader. Ryanair doesn't make money from your ticket. They make money from everything else. Want to bring a carry-on bag? That'll be $30. Want to choose your seat? Another $10 to €25. Checking in at the airport instead of online? $55, thank you very much. Priority boarding, travel insurance, in-flight snacks, scratch cards. Yes, they actually sell scratch cards on the plane. It all adds up. In fact, about 30% of Ryanair's revenue comes from these extras. And here's the psychological trick. Once you've committed to that cheap base fare, you're way more likely to add on those extras. Ryanair operates one of the youngest fleets in Europe, almost entirely Boeing 737s. Why does this matter? Because maintaining one type of aircraft is way cheaper. Pilots, mechanics, spare parts, everything is standardized. Their planes also have incredibly fast turnaround times. We're talking 25 minutes from landing to takeoff again. That's barely enough time to grab a coffee. Remember when I mentioned Beauvais and Bergamo? These airports charge Ryanair way less in landing fees than major hubs. Plus, some of these airports are so eager for traffic that they actually pay airlines to operate routes. It's wild. They're the result of an incredibly optimized, somewhat ruthless business model that squeezes efficiency out of every possible angle. Now let's talk about what it's actually like to fly Ryanair, the booking process. First, you'll navigate their website, which feels like it's actively trying to upsell you at every click. Pop-ups for car rentals, hotels, priority boarding, insurance you don't need. It's like running a gauntlet. And you better read everything carefully. Miss the checkbox to add a bag? You'll pay double at the airport. Forget to check in online? Charge. Airport experience. You'll probably arrive at an airport you've never heard of, possibly in a different region than where you wanted to go. The Ryanair gates are usually a bit chaotic. There's this competitive energy as people jostle for overhead bin space because everyone's trying to game the baggage system. The seats? Hard. Bright yellow and blue. Not much legroom. Definitely designed to keep you awake. Not comfortable. Some people swear the seats don't recline just to speed up boarding and deplaning. The announcements are legendary. You'll hear ads for scratch cards, duty-free perfume, and the Ryanair credit card. Multiple times. And then there's the landing. Look, Ryanair pilots have a reputation for firm landings. Some say it's because they have such tight turnaround times that they need to slow down quickly. Others joke that it's just part of the Ryanair experience. Either way, bring a neck pillow. Despite all this, millions of people fly Ryanair every year and come back for more. Why? Because for a lot of travelers, students, backpackers, budget-conscious families, the trade-off is absolutely worth it. You're not paying for luxury. You're paying to get from point A to point B. And if that means wearing extra layers and dealing with uncomfortable seats for 2 hours to save $200, for many people, that's a no-brainer. Now, we can't talk about Ryanair without addressing the controversies, because there have been quite a few. Ryanair has faced criticism over the years for how it treats its staff. Pilots and cabin crew have gone on strike multiple times over pay, working conditions, and union recognition. For a long time, Ryanair didn't recognize unions at all, which led to significant tension. The company has made some improvements in recent years, but it's still a sore spot. Consumer groups have repeatedly called out Ryanair for making it difficult to understand the true cost of a flight. That $9.99 fare can quickly become $100 once you add bags, seats, and other essentials. The EU has cracked down on some of these practices, requiring more transparent pricing, but Ryanair still pushes the boundaries. As one of Europe's largest airlines, Ryanair has a significant carbon footprint. They argue that their high load factors and efficient planes make them one of the greenest ways to fly per passenger. Critics say that enabling cheap flights encourages more flying overall, which isn't great for the planet. Let's be real. Ryanair's customer service has a reputation. When things go wrong, cancellations, lost bags, refunds, the process can be frustrating. Their budget model doesn't leave much room for hand-holding. So yeah, Ryanair isn't perfect, far from it. But they've also changed European travel forever, making it possible for people who could never afford to fly before to explore the continent. Alright, so you've decided to book a Ryanair flight. Seriously, every checkbox, every term. Know exactly what's included in your fare and what costs extra. Do this exactly 24 hours before your flight. It's free online but costs a fortune at the airport. Maximize that personal item allowance. A backpack that fits under the seat is your best friend. Before booking, check how far the airport actually is from your destination. Sometimes the transfer costs eat up your savings. The less you bring, the better. Ryanair rewards minimalists. Unless you really want to pay $5 for a sandwich and $3 for water, pack your own food and buy water after security. You're not flying Emirates. Honestly, if you follow these tips, you can have a perfectly decent experience and save a ton of money. Look, it's not for everyone. If you value comfort, excellent customer service, and a seamless experience, you'll probably want to pay more for a traditional carrier. But if you're flexible, strategic, and prioritize your destination over the journey, Ryanair has literally opened up Europe in a way that wasn't possible before. Weekend trips to new cities, visiting friends across the continent. The airline has its flaws, absolutely. But it's also democratized travel for millions of people. Now, here's my question for you. Have you flown Ryanair? What was your experience like? Drop it in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive valuable, if you learned something new about how budget airlines actually work, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we've got more videos coming on airline secrets, travel hacks, and how to see the world without breaking the bank. There are so many more aviation mysteries to uncover, so many more tips to share, and I want you here for all of it. Seriously, subscribing takes 2 seconds, and it helps this channel grow so we can bring you even better content. Alright, that's it for today. Safe travels, fly smart, and remember, it's not about how much you spend, it's about where you end up. See you in the next one.